The universe is expanding. Scientists might see a spot that lay 13.8 billion light-years from Earth at the time of the Big Bang, but the universe has continued to expand over its lifetime. If this growth occurred at a constant rate through the existence of the universe, that same spot is now 46 billion light-years away, making the diameter of the observable universe a sphere around 92 billion light-years. Based on the number of stars in our galaxy and the average number of planets per star, there is somewhere between 800 billion and 3.2 trillion planets in the Milky Way alone. And that's only one galaxy amid roughly 100 billion galaxies in the universe, according to findings from the Hubble Space Telescope. The idea that we, on Earth, are the only life throughout all of this massive universe is a hypothesis that is, at best, outdated and, at worst, preposterous. There is a good likelihood that we could encounter life, perhaps intelligent life, on other worlds, so long as we don't go extinct before either we create the technology for greater exploration or the nearest extraterrestrials do. In the 2016 science fiction film Arrival, we see such an encounter. Unlike many alien contact films, Arrival uses a fair amount of hard science, and this makes the narrative grounded in enough realism to be engaging, the way many sci-fi alien movies are not. As seen in the film, extraterrestrial contact has a lot of logistical and pragmatic concerns, among the most challenging being communication. However, the film also references ethical concerns with this contact. How will we react to the discovery of extraterrestrial life? Since there can be no empirical data due to it being only a potential future event, we can only speculate and, more importantly, prepare ourselves. Our first sign of life outside of Earth probably won't come in the form of black disks landing on Earth in hopes of giving us a new language. More likely than not, we will find a biosignature of oxygen in the atmosphere of an exoplanet created by life on the surface. This long-distance discovery could be managed remotely by a robot. We won't be able to meet our interplanetary counterparts and exchange pleasantries via washboard and marker for a very long time. In that regard, we would be more like the heptapods from the film, discovering life elsewhere, and then we would be the ones traveling to meet them, eventually. The cultural impact could be tremendous. The impact specifically on religious doctrines could result in theologians reinterpreting scriptures to rationalize these new discoveries, but that's a topic for another day. Today, I want to look at potential ethical concerns related to contact with extraterrestrial life. Our first ethical concern is a matter of access. Our likely long-distance discovery of extraterrestrial life does not eliminate the possibility that life could discover us first. However, NASA believes it's only a matter of decades before we discover some form of life based on the reach of our technology. This means another civilization only has a short time before we become the discoverers and not the discovered, if we haven't been already, that is. Our first contact will probably not take the form of an intellectual, cross-cultural exchange like in Arrival. It's more likely that it would be like the discovery of a natural resource, and one we might be able to exploit. It won't be a close encounter of the third kind. It will be like a gold rush or the 15th century discovery of the New World and its resources. It becomes a matter of access, of politics. In American films like Arrival, we see contact from the perspective of the American government, but that might not be how this happens. The real-world Chinese Academy of Sciences has a new state-of-the-art radio dish in the country's southwest. It's almost twice as wide as the dish at America's observatory in Puerto Rico. The Chinese dish is the largest in the world, and that's not just for bragging rights. They want to make first contact, well, first. In Arrival, due to the heptapods landing in various nations across the globe, the world's governments communicate with one another and share data on the visitors. Everyone knows what is happening, and the panic about these massive disks urge this unprecedented international cooperation. However, If evidence of alien life is found more realistically by long-distance biosignatures, there is no reason to believe that the global power that discovers it will immediately share all their data with other nations. Even if the discovery goes public through a media leak, which is possible, a lot of the information could still be kept secret, at least long enough for said government to launch its plans for this new life form. Who owns the rights to resources on another planet? The obvious answer is its inhabitants, but historically speaking, we haven't always respected that as it relates to colonization of other countries. Also, what if we don't find intelligent heptapods? What if we find beings more akin to our non-human animals on Earth? Who owns the rights to exploit interplanetary resources or even the rights to colonization? Whichever government physically lands there first? Also, since we are dealing with a future in which extraterrestrial life is provable, what if another outside civilization is already exploiting this habitable planet for their own planet's needs? This brings us to another ethical concern: treatment. In science fiction, aliens are sometimes portrayed as practically human, but in harder sci-fi like Arrival, we see the more likely possibility. Extraterrestrials so bizarre and unfamiliar that we won't see ourselves in them. We will struggle to understand them or choose not to. We could exploit them. Historically, that has been the way of Earth. If we are the discoverers and not the discovered, we could see an interplanetary manifest destiny take place, so long as it is cost-effective. In Arrival, the heptapods prove to be peaceful. They do not want to annihilate us, as General Shang initially believes. But what if we, much like the heptapods, touch down on another planet, not in peace? What if we see their indigenous, unintelligent life as fair game to exploit? Are we, then, the conquering aliens? The ethics of encountering non-sentient alien life boils down to a core dilemma. Is our mission about conservation and preservation, or is our mission related to our needs, wants, and desires? In the film, we see a reverse of this. Various nations learn that the heptapods are planning to give the world something. A weapon. The heptapods don't mean weapon as we do, though. Something is lost in the translation, but that's not the point. The point is that nations start to believe that this is now a race for this technology. Communication begins to go dark. The race is on. With this race comes fear, and China prepares to attack the heptapods. When it comes to a resource grab, or to what we perceive as self-defense, we rarely label our actions as wrong or problematic while we're engaged in them. It's always hindsight. In the film, much like most other alien contact movies, we see the government try to figure things out and defend Earth, but humanity is increasingly relying on private enterprise. If capitalism controls space travel, mining asteroids for minerals, harvesting microbes, colonization, terraforming, etc., the balance between preservation and exploitation could shift. Perhaps our biggest ethical concern as it relates to extraterrestrial contact is only significant if the aliens are intelligent and advanced, that being peaceful coexistence. There's this goofy line from the movie Contact in which a scientist declares that they should have sent a poet instead of herself. Yeah, no. Once the language barrier is breached, like in Arrival, who we should probably send is a diplomat. No matter how much we want what the aliens have, we probably won't know enough about them to judge the risk versus reward of it all. They might seem like big jellyfish at a glance, but as it is revealed in the third act of the film, they have an unseen power that changes everything. For ethical reasons, we should consider peace with our neighbors, and for practical reasons, we should consider both peace and caution. Another coexistence question, and this is only if the aliens come to us and not the other way around. How accommodating to extraterrestrials will we be if they wish to stay? Earth is living through a recent resurgence in calls for tightened borders among nations. Fear-mongering would reach a fever pitch if the outsiders are literally inhuman and have no legal protections under our laws. In Arrival, it doesn't take long before General Shang, feeling his country is threatened by the presence of the heptapods, gives them an ultimatum to either leave or be destroyed. These ethical concerns may seem far out, but we should probably start thinking about them now before first contact, instead of scramble to come up with a protocol after it suddenly happens. So long as our species doesn't go extinct anytime soon, the discovery of extraterrestrial life may only be a matter of time. Hi everyone, if you like what I do, please click on the orange Patreon link below. That's how this show happens. It's also the only way to request an episode. Also, please like, share, subscribe, and click on the notification bell so that you never miss an episode. I'll see you next week.